I was really proud of the way you participated last Tuesday. You were wonderful.
Shelby and I have a lot of fun here, but also, like, we can express ourselves to each other a lot better.
And then I put my coat on and watched for the 9, 4, 4, 6.
It was like a puzzle.
Those are just a few of the extraordinary people that we met in 2013. In the next half hour, we'll get you reintroduced to many more interesting Nebraskans in this 18th edition of the Best of Lance's Journal. Hello, everyone. I'm Lance Schwartz. Jody Wilbur is a Lincoln parking garage attendant that makes the most of her knitting skills.
Hello. As far as interaction, it's usually very brief.
I'm doing good, and you?
Sometimes less than 30 seconds. So that just goes to show that you can impact somebody's life in just a matter of moments.
And Jody Wilbur has made a habit out of impacting lives.
I have some downtime at work that I need to fill up, and I'm the type of person that I like to fill it up with something productive.
And 12 years later, I would not give this job up for the world.
Jody has been making hats, gloves, and scarves, and then handing them out to homeless people on the streets of Lincoln and in local shelters.
You have a safe weekend.
The road hasn't always been easy for Jody.
I am an alcoholic addict, been in recovery for many years, and there's one savior.
Jody has a heart for the homeless because she herself was homeless when she moved to Lincoln 12 years ago.
Going from suicidal to being saved.
Back in November, Jody was running low on yarn. That's when Randy Bretz drove into her life.
Oh, there she is, knitting as always.
Randy found out that Jody's project was running out of steam and yarn.
In my prayers said, you know, Lord, if you want me to continue this ministry, something's going to need to happen.
Randy posted a note about Jody's knitting ministry on Facebook.
I was just touched by it. Well, then within 24 hours, I don't know, I had 40 or 50 people say, I'd like to give some yarn to Jody.
Skeins of yarn started rolling in by the bundle.
Randy has been a true answer to prayer. Had it not been for that posting, for the comments of his friends, I may have given up on this project.
You're such an inspiration to me. Thank you so much for doing this for people in Lincoln and giving it back.
We have a high population of homeless people in Lincoln, Nebraska. If I can keep them warm, you know, it's not about me, it's not about what I do. It's about God and His children. We need to protect His children if we're able to do that.
It's really pretty amazing. Here we are, almost a year after the story originally aired, and Jody is still receiving yarn from thoughtful customers. If you'd like to donate to Jody's cause, drop by and see her at the Center Park Garage at 12th and Ann Street in downtown Lincoln. Together, Larry DORAN and his wife Karen make up a musical duo called the Melodies. They're based out of MCCOOL Junction, and they enjoy traveling around the state, entertaining their fellow Nebraskans.
Good afternoon. We are the Melodies. I'm Larry. This is my wife Karen. They're the greatest thing since fig leaves, the only clothes you'll ever need.
The thing was, I loved to sing. I really wasn't out to be a guitar picker. I loved to sing.
They're colorful tradition, they're air conditioned, they're bed overalls.
Larry DORAN says he had been married to his lovely bride Karen for 40 years before he knew she could sing.
Tape was playing in the front room. I went into the kitchen to get a cup of coffee, left the tape playing. She was thinking I was still out there, and she was washing dishes and harmonizing with me beautifully. And I said, you dry your hands and get out here. You got to sing. You can't hide that light under a bushel.
Larry's solo act was about to turn into a duet.
She said, oh, man. I said, why'd you hide it from me? She says, because I knew if you ever found out I could sing, you'd drag me out in front of people and make me do it. And she's right. I did. And I'm proud of it. I'm not sorry.
Dream, 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 dream.
The Melodies were formed 9 years ago, and they now perform at least 60 shows a year.
Well, we get to do it together. He's retired now, and we spend a lot of time at home practicing.
Irene Stewart of Hastings is a big fan.
I love it, and they sing all kinds of songs that I love. Just really a good old country and western, you know. They have great personalities.
You know, it's just a matter of having fun, and if you're having a good time, it's contagious. Other people kind of catch on to that, and that's what drew us into doing this. These people are so appreciative.
Even if Larry's corny jokes make them groan a little bit.
That's a hickory daiquiri, Doc.
We just have so much fun together. That's really the key to this thing.
I just want them to know how great they are. They're perfect with their music.
Blessed Jesus, hold my hand.
There you go.
If your next big event needs some lively entertainment, I invite you to get in touch with the Melodies in MCCOOL Junction. Well, Rich Broderson grew up in McCook, just wanting to be like his father, who for years called games on KICX radio. Today, Rich is not on the radio, but he is using his powerful pipes to do something he dearly loves. He's a public address announcer for the Nebraska School Activities Association.
And now, here's a starting lineup for the Aurora Huskies.
Rich Broderson is at his best when he's using his rich baritone to stir the masses.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's play basketball.
You have to get yourself in the moment, okay? Obviously, you know, right now, I'm not watching a basketball game, but when I try to get on a microphone, I try to articulate. I want to make sure people understand what's going on. Like, ladies and gentlemen, will you please welcome.
This 42-year-old has been blessed with a voice that was made for the mic.
I get so many people that come up, instead of saying, hey, Rich, how you doing? It's the Velvet Fog, or it's the Golden Voice, or, you know, it makes me laugh. But it's fun, though. I enjoy it. It's neat, but I'm a humble guy. I just like it because it's a profession that I really enjoy. I get the best seat in the house.
In addition to state basketball, Rich also works state football and track as well.
During the game, I try to call who makes the basket, who committed the foul.
Fouls number 4, Blake Williams.
How many on the team.
17 foul against the Huskies.
And most importantly,
you try to have fun and make sure it's an enjoyable experience for the student athlete.
For example,
people always say it's my three-point call they just love.
Three-pointer for Jackson Hines.
At UNK is where it all started out, and I just gave the three-pointer, you know, and then the player's name, and it just caught on.
Rich owes his success to a lot of people.
But the one main guy that started it all, and I will always say is my biggest inspiration of all, is my father, Max. He's my biggest fan.
Three-pointer!
To be at the Bob Devaney Sports Center. Growing up, I've been in Nebraska all my life. It was, and still is, an awesome feeling to be in the big house of Nebraska basketball.
Congratulations, Scottsbluff High School. They advance to the semifinals tomorrow in the Class B championship.
Rich has been the main public address announcer at the University of Nebraska-Kearney since 1990. He got started at UNK when he was just a freshman. And now, more than 2 decades later, the voice of the Lopers says he loves it more and more every year. Sylvie Johnson of Lincoln was only 3 years old when she discovered the special feeling one gets when they give. Every year, Sylvie Johnson looks forward to her birthday on March 25th. But not because she gets dolls or toys, but because she gets the opportunity to give cash donations to her favorite zoos in lieu of gifts for herself. Let's start from the start. What is your name?
Sylvie Sabrina Johnson.
Sylvie Sabrina Johnson loves all animals, especially cats. Who is this?
This is Isis. She was named after a goddess of Egypt.
This fun-loving first grader can't get enough of animals.
This is a picture of me at the Omaha Zoo's aquarium, and do you see that right there? That's Bubbles coming up for her lunch.
For the past 3 years, Sylvie has given her birthday money to zoos and aquariums.
So the animals can have food, shelter, and I had such wonderful experiences there, and I want other little kids in the city to have that too.
Wow. That's pretty cool. Sylvie's mom, Kim, says her daughter's birthday brainstorm took place in 2010 when she was just 3 years old. she wanted to raise money for penguins at the Lincoln Children's Zoo.
And she says, well, my birthday is coming up. We could ask for money for my birthday. And I told her, I said, well, honey, you have to understand, if you ask for money, we can't ask for presents. I said, so it's one or the other. And she thinks about that for a little bit, and then she says, well, that's fine. We just had Christmas. I don't really need any more presents.
$500 went to the Lincoln Zoo in 2010. In 2011, on Sylvie's 5th birthday, she gave $1,000 to the Henry Doorly Zoo in Omaha, where she adopted a green sea turtle named Bubbles.
This is a picture of me waving at Bubbles, and she's looking at me.
Last year, Sylvie adopted a beluga whale at the Shedd Aquarium in Chicago.
This is me playing Frisbee with her.
With her $1,400 donation, Sylvie got a behind-the-scenes tour, complete with a whale kiss.
I'm feeling her baby move.
Sylvie's dad, Chad, is very proud of his daughter and her selfless nature.
I'm really impressed that she likes to think of others more than she thinks of herself sometimes.
You know, it just gets you right there. You know, it's like, this is my child, and it's like, I didn't even have to teach her that. She just did that.
And this is Maya doing a trick.
This past March, Sylvie celebrated her 7th birthday by splitting $2,000 equally between the Shedd Aquarium in Chicago and the Henry Doorly Zoo in Omaha. In total, Sylvie has now given away nearly $5,000. Well, personalized school bus theme songs are not mandatory in the Lincoln public school system, but that didn't keep a creative driver from composing a clever little tune for his young riders back in April.
Welcome to the 9446.
Don Mollison has a special way of bonding with his bus.
Oh, the 9446. We're close.
He thinks about her a lot.
I dream about this bus.
Really?
No.
Well, he may not actually dream about her, but he does have a blast driving the 9446.
This is really an extension of the classroom, so why not make it fun and creative and follow the rules of the bus and be respectful, just have a good time.
The words just started to flow.
Well, I just started coming up, you know, just like, you know, like the 9446 is the sweetest ride, the 9446 gives us lots of pride.
The 9446 is painted yellow and black. The 9446 gives us safe and back.
I mean, that all made sense, right? And it was true.
I watch a little TV to get my little fix, and then I put my coat on and watch for the 9446.
The kids from Lakeview Elementary School loved it.
I think it's a great idea. Like, I don't think anyone has ever done this. It's very, like, creative and thoughtful.
I wake up every morning, early out of bed. I get myself dressed and I get my belly fed.
I watch a little TV to get my little fix, and then I put my coat on and watch for the 9446.
It was like a puzzle.
I get up in my seat and I look all around. I talk to my peeps while we drive through town.
Our driver is cool and he makes us mine, but that's okay, 'cause we have a good time.
When I get off the bus, I just sing in my head and I won't forget about it.
The 9446 is the sweetest ride. The 9446 gives us lots of pride. The 9446
office, and the 9446 has left the building.
gives us safe and back.
Now that is a catchy song indeed. The Greater Lincoln Obedience Club celebrated its 50th anniversary this past April. During that time, Lincolnites have had a place to gather and share their fascination with dogs.
I've been in the club about a year, and when I first started, I have a very hyper dog, which you can see.
Nathan Lake was searching for a way to calm his dog.
Girl.
He found it at the Greater Lincoln Obedience Club.
It's a great experience to bond with your dog. Shelby and I have a lot of fun here, but also, like, we can express ourselves to each other a lot better. So I can understand what she's saying, she can understand what I'm saying, and really we can work together as a team.
And President Kathy Zupancic says that is precisely the goal of the GLOC.
Yes. We are a club that trains people to train their dogs.
For example,
all right, so I'm putting my scent on this metal article here so my dog can go out and find it among a pile of 4 metal and 4 leather scent articles.
We teach a wide variety of skills, and we're involved in a lot of different dog sports, everything from obedience to agility. Good job. From dogs who've never had any training to dogs who are competing at a national level.
Patty, come. Janet Ball has been a member of the Greater Lincoln Obedience Club for the past 15 years.
I just think that it's just so much fun because I know I'm a unique individual, but there's a lot of unique individuals and that all love their dogs, and it's a great way to spend time with your dog, with people that love dogs and understand the things that go on with dogs in the household.
Thunder, you ready to go? Let's do it. Go, go. It's hard to believe, but many of these dogs are so well trained, they'll let almost anyone handle them on the agility course.
Tunnel, get in there.
Here it is, living, panting proof that dogs are often more impressive than humans if they get the right training.
Weave it. Maneuver, baby. Maneuver. Weave it, weave it, weave it. And we're done. Woo! And that's how you do it. Dog Obedience 101. And of course, a big thank you goes out to my new buddy Thunder for kind of making me look like I knew what I was doing. Norman Doherty learned how to tune pianos in the summer of 1962, and he's been honing his craft for the past 51 years.
Yeah, piano tuning can be a high-strung job.
At first, Norman Doherty grabs your attention with his wry sense of humor.
If I get tired of piano tuning, I think I'll take up psychiatry so I can still work with tension.
Then he impresses you with his tuning knowledge.
I'm on an F right now.
You could say he has a great ear, and he needs it, because he's tuned hundreds of pianos over the past half-century without the gift of sight.
It's called retinitis pigmentosa.
A condition that both of his siblings were also born with.
You have many black flecks over your retina, and each one of those is a blind spot.
Norman attended the Nebraska School for the Blind in Nebraska City.
I began taking piano lessons.
Many years later, Norman was at a seminary studying to be a pastor when he learned how to tune pianos.
It's kind of fun. And there's a satisfaction in having something work better when you finish than when you started. 2 flats on a piano are okay, but 2 flats on a car are terrible.
Norman lives by himself, and over the past 5 decades, he's ridden many buses and walked who knows how many miles, making house call after house call.
I can cross Oak Street here and get out in the middle of 13th Street by accident, and people enjoy pointing me to the curb, so they like to tell me where to go.
Norman was married for 37 years and had 4 kids with normal vision.
I'm 16 years a widower now, and my younger son says one time Mom had a blind date and look what happened to her.
Keith Heckman of Dietz Music House has been subcontracting Norman for 40 years.
The first thing you should know is that he doesn't have a challenge. You and I have the challenge. We can see. He thinks we're challenged.
Some people in middle age or so go blind and they sit down. Some other people are so daring that startle the daylights out of you. So I admire the daring ones.
Even at 76 years of age, Norman Doherty is still working full-time in and around Lincoln and is widely known as one of the best piano tuners in southeast Nebraska. That, in and of itself, is pretty impressive. But on top of that, this guy is a one-of-a-kind human being and one of the most memorable men I've ever met. Bob Taylor goes to work every day at the Veterans Hospital in Lincoln, not because he needs the money, but because it's the most enjoyable job he's ever had. Around the VA, he's affectionately known as Barber Bob.
I guess about 90% of my business is veterans.
And that includes veterans of all ages.
The young and the old.
And the super seniors get to look forward to this.
When you get 90 years old, you get the free haircut.
Bob owned 2 hair salons in downtown Lincoln for 40 years.
See that?
In 1970, he shaved his head and wore a toupee for an entire year.
Because I was selling hair pieces, I wanted to find out what it was like wearing one.
His wife, he thought his wife would think he was sexy, he said.
Bob had been retired from the hair business for 3 years when the VA called.
When I came out here, I was only supposed to be here for 3 or 4 weeks till they found somebody. Then after I got here, I decided I liked it.
Customers keep coming back for 2 reasons.
Haircuts are cheap for one thing. Plus, I think I'm a pretty good barber. You know, I've got plenty of practice at it, you know.
I would agree that 63 years of haircutting could be considered pretty good practice at it.
Not everybody can style a head of hair like this.
I'd like to get out here about 15, 20 minutes early because, again, you know, once you sit down in that chair there's going to be teasing and going on, and Bob's right in the middle of it all.
I'm not done, but your time's up.
The good-natured ribbing is always on the house.
With what I had to work with, I think he looks real good.
This 83-year-old thinks so much of his 600 loyal customers that he sends each and every one of them a birthday card every year.
All the Januaries, Februaries, I guess I think I'd like to quit. Then somebody will come in and say, that was the only card they got. And so that makes me want to continue to do it.
Bob guesstimates that he's cut nearly 400,000 heads of hair during his 63-year barbering career.
He's a pistol. He's a rib. One of a kind.
I figured if my doctor ever told me I could either play golf or cut hair, I'd quit playing golf because I enjoy this more than I do playing golf.
And the good news is you don't even have to be a veteran to get your hair cut by Bob. Just give Barber Bob a call at the Veterans Hospital in Lincoln. In 1967, Jerry McGinn didn't like that his 2 daughters had limited options for competitive sports. Jerry took matters into his own hands and did something about it.
I was really proud of the way you participated last Tuesday. You were wonderful.
75-year-old Jerry McGinn is a motivational mastermind.
No pushing, no pulling hair, because we love each other, right? I said right?
I wanted to form Little Green for the reason that I wanted to continue the program. In other words, have little kids about 3 years old to 8, kind of a farm system, if you will, and to keep building Big Green.
Around the turn of the century, the powerful Big Green machine, which was made up of kids 8 to 18 years of age, had run its course. But the Little Green program continued to grow in popularity around Lincoln.
Little Green, we could care less who wins.
I just like to run, and it gives me a lot of exercise.
We just have fun, a lot of smiling, a lot of happiness.
And a lot of singing from more than 740 kids.
Jump and jive, man alive, the green machine has just arrived. Uh-huh, uh-huh.
The impact of the Little Green and Big Green track programs over the years has been long-lasting and large. Since 1967, more than 64,000 kids have competed for Coach Jerry McGinn.
You know, I look at it as I've been blessed to be able to work with children, to see the smiles on their faces. They're laughing, they're having fun. Coaches are handpicked.
Good job, guys.
They show a lot of love to these kids, and that's what it's all about.
Congratulations to Jerry and all of his coaches on their 47th successful season in 2013. Well, Lance's Journal debuted on April 13th, 2004. Since then, I have had the absolute pleasure of introducing viewers to hundreds and hundreds of noteworthy Nebraskans. Back in September, my 500th journal focused on the best storyteller I've ever known, my mom. This is where the story began for me personally, Falls City, Nebraska. And inside this big brick house on Valley Avenue is where I learned to appreciate the fine art of storytelling.
Well, you've got to have a good, gripping conflict. At the sound of their voices, I tried to unlatch the back gate of the trailer.
My mom learned to appreciate the power of a tantalizing tale at an early age.
My mother was a teacher, and she liked to tell stories, and I can still remember her standing at our bedroom door and telling us stories at bedtime. And I think that love of a story has just come on down through the generations. Even you, Lance, I think it's descended to you.
to me and many fortunate students at Falls City Sacred Heart for 25 years.
It was always fun to watch them under the spell and the power of a good story.
After she retired from teaching, my mom continued to pursue her passion.
I've always had this dream. I wanted to write some stories and maybe get them published. Eventually, I was able to convince a children's publisher, and they published this book, Lobo and the Rabbit Stew.
She was 71 years old when her first book went to press.
I know that even young people say, wow, you're kind of old to be writing these. And I say, well, I'm the Grandma Moses of storytelling.
As a high school history teacher, my brother Reed continues to use the storytelling skills my mom passed on to us.
I've always known that Mom was a wonderful storyteller and everything, but just since she was retired as a school teacher, obviously all that seen these books being published and stuff, that letting the whole world also see these stories and these things that we knew, it's a wonderful blessing.
My dad Hank has enjoyed watching his wife's writing career flourish in her 70s, as she's had 5 books published in the past 4 years.
It really is impressive sometimes to read, because I spend a lot of time reading them myself.
I feel blessed and honored, and I've found it's fun to go out on the road even, and to give little talks and share these stories with other people.
Now we go from journal number 500 to journal number 503. It focused on one of the biggest news stories in Nebraska in 2013, the vintage Chevy car auction that took place in Pierce.
They love their Chevys. It's bow tie madness, man.
To many classic car collectors, this 80-acre plot of land is a field of dreams. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Chevys will be sold as is to thousands of bidders from around the globe.
We have people here from New Zealand, Denmark, Germany, South Africa. That part's pretty bizarre.
Yvette Vanderbrink has spent the entire summer organizing this colossal event.
This has taken on a life of its own. It's just amazing.
Yvette organizes car auctions all the time, but this one is unique.
Just the fact that Mr. Lambrecht never sold a trade-in and that he kept new holdover inventory, that's just unheard of. It's like a white buffalo.
Yvette says Ray and his wife Mildred's business model was very untraditional, to say the least.
You had to buy the latest, greatest Chevrolet. If that 63 was sitting there on the lot and the 64 models were out, you can't have that one no more. You have to buy a new 64.
And that's why cars like this 1963 Impala with a spotless interior and 11 miles on it will finally be sold tomorrow for what I'm guessing will be a smidge more than the $3,254 that is on the original window sticker. This, my friends, is a brand new 1958 Chevrolet Cameo pickup, and it is the star of the show. It has 1.3 miles on the odometer. It has perfect upholstery, perfect paint, and it will be the first vehicle sold tomorrow. Even before live bidding starts tomorrow morning, the high internet bid on the Cameo has risen to $47,000, and more than 2 million people have logged on to proxybid.com to check out this collection online. A handful of these cars were stored inside and will be sold as new, but the vast majority of these 500 vehicles have weathered many storms and many days in the sun, not to mention an occasional tree growing up through the bumper.
It's just a very rare opportunity.
Well, that'll do it for this 18th edition of the Best of Lance's Journal. I'm Lance Schwartz. Thanks for joining us. So long, everybody.